Good morning, everyone. How are you, heroes? I wish you all the best. Today is 16 March 2020, grade 5. Open page 705 and read the title of our lesson today. Make line plots. After writing the date of today at the top of the page, read again our title of the lesson. Making line plots. So in this lesson, we're going to learn a new concept. First, you have to know what is the frequency. This is a new concept you are going to learn today. Frequency is how many times a given value occurred. Frequency is how many times a given value occurred. For example, if we have some raw materials arranged in a line, in a table, in any way, you are going to count the number of repetition of certain value. This is the frequency. How many times this value occurred, this is the frequency, okay? So I hope this concept is clear for you at first. So, dear, what is your mission today? We have two missions. Your mission is to draw line plot and observe and answer. So you have two missions. The first one is to draw line plots, how to draw it. The second one is to observe this line plot you are going to draw and answer the question given on the shape, okay? So let's start mission number 1. Mission number 1, you are going to learn how to draw the line plots. How? Let's see. In page 705, solve and share question. Step number 1, you will find a board. On this board, there are a lot of values are written on this board. You are going to read and focus each value, okay? Then this is step number 1, to focus each value in each line and read them all. Step number 1, before drawing, you have to arrange them ascending. So the arrangement statement will be 50, just 150. You will have more than 150, select just one value, okay? 50, 50 and a half, 52, 55, 58 and a half, and 60. Why we arranged all these values? Because of step number 2. In step number 2, you are going to determine the least value. What is it? It's 50, yes. The least value in the data set to be start or to be as a start point, and do the same with the maximum value. What is the maximum value in your data set? Yes, I heard you. You say yes, 60. To be the last point in your drawing. This is step number 2. Concentrate with me. This is the steps how to draw a line plots. Okay? So let's see step number 3. After reading and determine the maximum point and the minimum point, the start point and the end point, you are going to draw the line number. After drawing the line number, you are going to divide it with the appropriate way according to the given value in data set. For example, here, you are going to divide it in 1, 2, again here, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Then write the value you have just arranged. For example here, 50, here is 50 and a half. 51, 51 and a half. 52, 52 and a half. 53, 53 and a half. 54, 54 and a half. 55, 55 and a half, and so on until you reach 60. So I draw, divide, and write the value of each part. Okay? This is the appropriate way in this example. Okay? Then, step number 4. Let's see. Again, or back again to the data set and count how many times a given value occurred, as you will see in the following slide. So, for example, here is 55. How many times of repetition in all data set? Let's see. Count the number of frequency for each value. For example, 50 repeated 2 times, 50.5 repeated 6 times, 52 repeated 2 times, 55 repeated 6 times, 58.5 repeated 2 times, and 60 repeated 2 times. What about these dots, Mr. Walid? These bold dots will help you to represent each number of repetition, each frequency. So when we have 2 times, represented by 2 bold dots. When we have 6 times, we're represented by 6 bold dots, and so on. Okay? Step number 5. Represent the frequency you count over each value by bold dots. As I told you, you are going to handle with the line number you draw like that. Where is 50? This is the first point, yeah. So you are going to start how many times of repetition, how many frequency of 50? Just 2, okay? Now, what about 50.5? 50.5, I think repeated 6 times. This is 2, another 2, another 2. So the total number is 6 bold dots represented 50.5. Okay, what about 52? Repeated 2 times, Mr. Walid. Yes, I'm going to represent them by 2 bold dots. What about here, 54? 54.5, I'm sorry. Yeah, 6 also. 58.5, just 2. 60, just 2. So that's it. How to represent and make line plots as you draw, as you see in the 5 steps. This will help you easy to handle any line plot you want to draw, okay? Let's see. Visual learning on topic 12.2, make line plots. Please listen it from personal line. You will find it submitted in the assignment today. Please listen for it carefully and back again. So after finishing mission number 1, I think we have to start mission number 2. Yeah. Mission number 2, you are going to observe and answer. Observe and answer what, Mr. Walid? Let's see. In look back, I asked you, how does organizing the data help you see the height that occurs most often? Explain. I think the word most often, it is not new for us. I think it's old concept, because most often means what? Yeah, I heard you. The largest, the values that has the largest amount of bold dots. This is most often occurred, or occurred most often. So my comment here that when values are organized in numerical order, it's easy to see which value occurs most often. So you are going to focus on the drawing in front of you. Just need open eyes and look carefully to the book. Yeah, to determine the requirement value, okay? So we're looking here for the value occurs most often. So we finished. Look back. Let's move to convince me. In page 706, convince me, open it please. He asked you which weight occurs most often, and which weight occurs least often, and how can you tell from the line plots. Sure, he mean the upper one in the same page. Weights of dots. Concentrate on the line plots, not on the table, please. And try to observe and answer the question and convince me. Yeah. You're all the best. I love you all. Listen. Yeah, 12.5 pounds and 7/4 pound and 11.5 pound is the weight with the most dots occur. Most often, the weight with the fewest dots occur is the least often, or occurs the least often. So it's easy by seeing the values that had the greatest amount of all the dots, it is the most often. And which one has the least amount, it is least often. So the largest way is the most often, or which one has the greatest number of all the dots. And the smaller one is, or the smaller weight is, the least often occurs, which has the least amount of all the dots over it. Okay, let's move. Sure, I'm going to start in guide practice, page number 707. Okay, question number 1. In the line plot of the dot weights on the previous page, he means here 706. What does each dot represent? Sure, I ask you, yeah. What? Yes? I heard you, yeah. The weight of one dog, it's easy, sir. I'm going to represent what? I'm going to express what? I'm going to represent and express the weight of each dog. So each dot we have or select represent or express the weight of one dog, just one. Okay, number 2. In a line plot, how do you determine the value to show on the number line? The number line must include the least and the greatest value, as I told you in the warm-up. If you remember mission number 1, yes. After arranging them ascendingly, we selected and determined the least point to be the start point and the greatest one to be the end point on our drawing on the line number. So, the least and the greatest value in the data set is very important to determine in this question. Okay, now, are you ready for question number 3? Yes, it's a very important one in our lesson. The most important one in our lesson is question number 3. We are still in page 707, guided practice, question number 3. He asked you to draw line plot to represent the following data. Okay, sure. The table is a way to help you for arrange the data and focus and express and represent all requirement in this question. So this table will help me for drawing. Yes. First thing you have to do is to draw the number line. Then to determine the largest value and the smallest one. I think the smallest value in weights is 3.5, but I can't start with on the number line. So I'm going to start with 3. And the maximum point is 8.5. So I can't also write it, but I can end with 9. So I'm going to start from 3 to 9. This is on drawing the line number. And divide the distance between each two numbers in 4 parts, because I have here 1/4 as a fraction, 1/4 as a fraction. So I'm going to divide the distance between each two numbers in 4 parts. This makes it easy for me to represent 3.5, 5.25. Okay, So if we divide the distance, for example, between 3 and 4, sure, when you count these parts in the distance, you will find we have 4 parts. Consider the distance between 2 dashes as 1 part, not to consider just 1 dash equal 1 part. It's wrong. The distance between each 2 dashes represent 1 part. So we have here 4 parts between 3 and 4. So the center of the distance represented by 2 parts. So 3.5 will be after the number 3 by 2 parts. And this is represented by 2 or equal frequency 2. So I'm going to represent them by 2 bolded dots. Now, how can I represent here 5.25? Where is 5? Here is 5. 5.25 means 5 and 1 part. So this dash will help me to represent 5.25. Yeah. How many frequency do we have here? Yes, I heard you. 3, Mr. Walid. You are going to write 3 dots over the determined one. Yes, here it is 5.25 equal 3. Okay. Now, number 7, I think it's easy to help you here. In number 7, look, number 7 here. Yes, 4 frequency. I'm going to draw 4 bolded dots over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What about 8.5? It's between 8. Sure, it's between 8 and 9 in the center of the distance. So this is the dash of 8, and we have 2 parts over. So here is 8.5 here in this area, 8.5. Okay, so I'm going to represent it by 1 dot. Okay. Now, this is time of independent practice. Let's see. In question number 1, in page 707, I'm sorry, we started with point number 4 in independent practice, okay, which say in 4 and 5 complete the line plots, the line plot for each data set. Number 4, here is 11.25, 12.5, 11.25, 14.75, and 10.5, 11.25, and 12. So he helped you, sure, and make it easy by drawing the number line and divide it and put the value under each point. So what you are going to do is to determine the frequency of each point. For example, I'm going to start with the least one here. I think it is 10.5. Okay, 10.5. Where's 10.5? It's sure between 10 and 11. So how many times of repetition here? Just 1. So this area between 10 and 11, this one, you see? Please focus on the arrow. The mouse arrow here refers to 10.5, which repeat just 1 time. So the frequency equal 1. So I'm going to draw just 1 bolded dot over what? Over 11.5. Okay, now let's move to a larger value, which is 11.25. Yes, I heard you. 11.25. I think it's repeated more than 1 time. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to represent 11.25 in this dash by 3 bolded dots. Why we didn't draw this 3 bolded dots over 11? Because we represent 11 and 1/4. So I have to move between 11 and 12. So just one part over 11 and draw 3 bolded dots over it. So the second one will be 12. I didn't have in the problem here or in the statement here just 12 as a whole number. I have here 12 and a half, okay, repeated just one time, yes. Okay, now 12 and a half finished. Is there anything else in our problem? Yes, let's see. 12 and a half here, okay. We said 12 and a half. So here I represented 12 just one time, just one bolded dot over it, and 12 and a half just one time, one dot represented by one dot. Okay, now where is the last value I'm going to represent? It's 14 3/4, and it's repeated just one time. So I'm going to count 3/4 over 4. Sure, it's in the distance between 14 and 15, okay? 14 and 15, the distance between them. I'm going to add 3 parts over 4. So this dash represent 14 3/4 by 1 bold dot over it. Let's move for question number 5. 1 and 1 over 8, 2, 1 and a half, 1 1/4, 1 and 1 over 8, 1, 2, 1 and a half, 1 and 1/4. So in this question, I'm going to select the least value we have here. Here is 1. Is there any number of repetition for 1 as a whole number? No, Mr. Lee, just 1. So I'm going to represent it by 1 dot over. Okay. The second value, more than 1, it will be 1 and 1 over 8. How many 1 and 1 over 8 we have in the statement? Count them, please. Here is 1 and here is 2. So I'm going to represent the frequency by 2 dots over 1 and 8. Okay. The following one will be 1 and 1 over 4. How many 1 and 1 over 4 we have in our statement here? Just 2. Here is 1 and here is the second one. Okay. So I'm going to draw 2 bold dots over 1 and 1/4. Okay, now the following one will be 1 and a half. This one. How many 1 and a half do we have? Count them, please. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to draw 2 bold dots over. Okay. So the following one, or the last one, will be the largest value, will be the end point. The end point repeat 2 times. Here is 1 and here is the second one. Okay, 1, 2. So I'm going to write just 2. Okay, we finished the first section in independent practice. Now with the second one. In 6 and 7, construct a line plots. It means to draw a line plot for each data set. So first, you have to draw the line number and determine, without repetition, determine the value over the line number without repetition. Okay, so when we have, for example, repeated value just like 1 and 1, 2 ones, select just one value from them and write it under the line number. Okay, sure, have repeated 2 times, I'm going to select just one to write. After that, I'm going to determine the frequency for each value and start from the least one to the greatest one. So I heard you, yes, I'm going to start with 0, my hero, yeah, my hero, concentrate with me, listen please, pay more attention. 0 repeated here just one time. So I'm going to write it here, select 1 to write and represent by 1x over. 0, because the frequency just one time. Okay, now what is the value more than 0 ascending? Sure, it's half. How many halves do we have in the statement? Yes, 3 times. Where are they? This is the first one, and this is the second, and this is the third one. So we represented it by 3x's over. Okay, now 3/4 represented by 3x because the frequency equals 3. Where are they? 1, 2, 3. Okay, the last one. Sure, but its name is 1, and it is the last one. Okay, so it's repeated 2 times. So it will be represented by 2x's. Okay, now on page, in question number 7, draw the number line and write the value under each dash. After arranging the value ascending, you will start with the least one. The least one is 5. How many 5s do we have in the statement? Select them all. Count them all. Count all 5, just 5 as a whole number, without any fraction, without any decimal, without anything. 5 as a whole. How many times do we have? Just 2. Okay, I'm going to draw 2x's over this item, over this point, 2x's. Okay, now the second one will be 5 and 1 over 8. How many 5 and 1 over 8 in the statement? Count them, please, carefully. Okay, I see, I heard you. Yes, 5 and 1 over 8 repeated 2 times. Where are they? This is 1, and this is the second one. Okay, so I'm going to represent by 2x's over 5 and 1 over 8. Okay, now the following value will be 5 and 1/4. 5 and 1/4 just repeated 1 time because I didn't find it even in the statement, just 1. Okay, so I'm going here to draw just 1x over 5 and 1 over 4. The following one will be 5 and 3 over 8. How many 5 and 3 over 8 we have in the statement? Search, focus, think, answer. Yes, just 1 time. Here, Mr. Walid. Here is 5 and 3 over 8. Just 1. Okay, I'm going to write just 1x over the value. Okay, the following one will be 5.5. Oh, we have a lot here, Mr. Walid. I think here is 1, 5.5. The second one, 5.5. The third one, 5.5. So it's repeated 3 times. 5.5 repeated 3 times. Okay. Okay. Now, 5 3/4. Frequency equal 1. I'm going to write just 1 over. So we finish our independent breaks and move to word problem or math practice and problem solving. Please be ready with me and pay more attention. Okay, here is in problem solving, page number 708, question number 11. Read the question carefully, complete the sentence, use one of the words below. Line plot, data, outlier. A between brackets N space. It means here you are going to select one of these 3 words as answer. Yes, A between brackets N space is a value that is very different from other values in data set. If you remember and refresh your mind from the last lesson, I said it is outlier. Okay, just only this question. I think it's too easy for you. Yes, it's a gift, by the way. Number 12. Randall buys 3 tickets for concert for $14.50 each. He gives the cashier a $50 bill. how much change does he get? Write equation to show your work. I think here is the answer will be, yeah, $6.50. Okay, now move to the question, to the equation. The equation here, 14.50 multiplied by 3 and get the product. Then subtract the product from the total number of the bill that he paid to the cashier to get the final answer as 6.50. Now move to Common Core Assessment. Question number 13 in the same page, 708. Amy measured how many centimeters the leaves on her house plants grow in July, and use the leaf growth data below to complete the line plot on the right. After reading all the given data set, after focusing on it, after determining the number of frequency for each value, start to set up them on the line number and start to count and draw fold dots for each value. So the least one, after arranging them ascendingly, the least one you start is 1. How many ones do we have in this statement? Yeah, just one here. Here is just one. Okay, I'm going to represent it by just one dot. Okay, now we have 1.5 for this one. 1.5, no Mr. Walid, skip. 2 for this one, no Mr. Walid, skip. But we have here 2.5. 2.5 in the center of the distance between 3 and 2, or 2 and 3. Here is 2.5. Okay, focus on the given data set. How many 2.5s do we have in the statement? Yes, I heard you. Just 2. Okay. Then, do we have 3? Yes, I heard you. I can't skip it because we have 3 frequencies of 3. So I'm going to represent them over the item here. Yes, 3. Fold the dots over 3 because we selected here 1. And here is the second one. And here is the third one. So each one represented by 1 dot. So the total will be 3 over 3. Okay. Now we have 3.5. Yeah, a lot of 3.5 in the given data sheet, Mr. Walid. They represented by 3.5. This is 1, 2. Count with me. 3, 4, and 5. Yes, represented by 5 folded dots. Okay, now the second value or the following value will be, yes, I heard you, 4 after 3.5. Sure, 4. Okay, 4. How many 4s do we have in the statement? Just, yes, just 2 consecutive 4s. Yeah, here are them. Yeah, so I'm going to represent them here by 2 folded dots over. Okay, now, what is the following value? After 4, 4.5, not 5. Yeah, 4.5. 4.5, here is just 1. Okay. After 4.5 is 5, but we didn't have 5 in the statement, so I'm going to escape it. Okay, escape the value we didn't have in the statement. Escape it, please, escape it. Don't be confused, my dear, okay? My hero, wake up. Okay, now the last one will be 5.5, and we have just 1 value. Okay, so I'm going to represent it by just 1 dot over. And now we have finished our lesson. Thank you all, my heroes, and I wish you all the best forever, and see you again in the next lesson, inshallah, on virtual school. Thank you for watching. Thank you, and goodbye, my dear.